Hi guys, Mr. Overon here with Mr. Overon's Tarot Reading Services, and today's video is coming via request. It was requested by, I should have had all this taken care of, Hell Momma Raised. So Hell Momma Raised, this video is in direct response to your question in the comments section of my last video, finding your intuition or listening to your intuition, which I'll leave a link in the cue card up here if you guys want to go and watch that. So the video today is about utilizing urine in witchcraft and in your magics. This isn't urine. I just tried adding some food coloring to water just to give like a visual representation, so it came out more of a peach color. But first of all, you got to figure out what you're going to be utilizing your urine for. There's going to be a lot of things that you can do with it. You can use it for protection spells. You can use it for your jar magic if you are like wanting to mark a territory, or you want to quite literally piss on somebody's progress, or any number of different things like that. The one way that I have utilized urine in the past is I've used it in protection and barrier spells. Thinking about and visualizing a dog or like an alpha predator type of a situation going around and marking their territory and saying that this is my home, this is my safe space, and stuff like that. Now, your urine, when it's in its liquid form, it is basically a catalyst. It's everything that you have expelled from your body. So if you think of it in the terms of banishing, think of it as, okay, you've expelled all this from your body. If you're trying to lose weight or trying to do any kind of self magic, it flushes out into you, and then you can then take it away and throw it away, or flush it down the toilet, whatever you want to do, however you want to work your magic. So for the sake of argument, let's say that this is actually urine, okay? And I wanted to do a protection spell utilizing my urine. So first of all, I would have to save up enough urine to actually do this, and then I would let it sit for about a week in a closed container so that it ferments and becomes even more pungent. And when I went to use it, I would open it up and I would add herbs to it. So I would add things like black pepper, red pepper, chili flakes, maybe some lavender or rosemary, just herbs that are protective. Now, after having done all that, I would wait until the full moon or even a new moon and take this outside and sprinkle it along your perimeter of your home. If you live in an apartment building, of course you're not going to be able to do this too easily. But you could at least sprinkle some in front of your doorway, or even get an old spray bottle and spritz it around, or turn it over to the jet stream and just like draw out a line. If you're having a problem with a next door neighbor or something, maybe putting a line of it across their threshold. Any number of things like that. Really, the magical intent is basically how this is going to work. This is just a catalyst. It's an offering, it's a sacrifice of self. It has your power, your DNA, your essence in it already. So when you're using it to like sour or to work your jar magic or make a sour jar or something like that, you would then take a physical representation of the person or some of their hair, their nail clippings, used condoms, an article of clothing, something like that, stick it inside of the jar and then fill it full of urine or have it already in there, and then just with a stick put the stuff inside of the jar, and then work it just like regular jar magic, where you would put a candle of the corresponding color on top of it and let it melt down, thus sealing it. And then you could even go bury it, or if there is some fast moving water like a river or something like that, you could throw it into the river and allow it to take it where it needs to go. Not very eco-conscious or friendly, but as long as you aren't doing like 70 jars a day, or it should be okay. But so I was having problems with my neighbors, and I was also having some issues with my landlords, and I decided that I was going to do a perimeter spell. I just wasn't feeling safe and secure in my home. It seemed like every time my landlords came over that they were always in a really bitchy, foul mood, and I just needed to up my protection and to make me feel a little less on edge whenever they were around. So I consecrated and I put all of my energy into the urine that I was collecting over a week's time, and right at the full moon around midnight I went out and I began my ritual, and I would just sprinkle a little bit every so many feet, walking the perimeter of my yard. And I came up with this little spell that I said along with it. Basically, I can't remember it now, but it was basically like, may no one cross this barrier, be it man or beast, that has ill will, hostility, or negativity in their heart. May only love, light, and companionship cross this threshold. And I went around the whole thing, and then once I got back into the house, I visualized the barrier that I put up, and then I meditated on that for a little while and just felt like this invisible wall go up around my whole property. And it took about 2 weeks for it to really kick in. And when it finally did kick in, I noticed an instant change whenever my landlords happened to come over. They were in a lot better mood. They were always just kind of happy and joking, and were a lot more helpful and less combative. Like, why did you do this? Why did this happen? Why didn't you call us for this or that and the other thing? And it's been really nice. Like, my dynamics with my landlords have completely changed over the last year or two since I've done this. And they've even started doing yard work and repairs to the yard and like stuff that I had going on outside. So I don't know if it was attributed to the spell work that I did, but I feel that it helped. Now, if you were going to use it for a curse or hex or something like that, then of course you would apply the proper herbs for that. If you were wanting to use it in a love spell, for women, it would be a little bit different than what a man would do. And you're probably thinking, how could you utilize this as a love spell? And the way that I would utilize it as a love spell is I would collect my urine as much as possible, and then toward the time that I wanted to cast the spell, I would then ejaculate into the vessel, and then write up a petition on a piece of paper saying something like, Blessed Goddess Mother Divine, I invoke your name and your power to help me find a love that is true, and blah 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 blah, just kind of worded however. Or if you knew that you really loved someone or had that deep attraction to that person, then you would word it however you needed to word it. The reason I say for men to use your seminal fluid is because it's working in two different ways here. You have your urine, which is passed through the urethra and penis and put into the jar. So you have the sexual connotations of the urine leaving the penis, and the fallacy of that, or the phallic nature of that, I should say. And then the semen, of course, sex magic or intense lust or whatever else. And then you would put a picture of the person that you are intending to work the spell on, and basically drowning them in your love. And think of it as like just saturating them with love and intense. And because of the animalistic nature of urine being used to mark territory or to signal intent for mating or what have you, there's all these things that you can kind of like cherry pick and combine and put together and utilize your jar that way. For a woman, utilizing some of your menstrual blood inside of the urine and doing the same thing as like you would for a man, adding in your menstrual blood, that is the woman's life force. That is her her signifier that she's ready to procreate, that her whole body is ready to receive a seed to procreate. So you would do it that way. Of course, you would also want to add any stones, any herbs, words of intent, pictures, whatever you want to, just like you would in the male spell. But typically 9 times out of 10, if you are utilizing urine in your magics, it's going to be for banishing and protection and for cursing. But again, like I've always said in all my other videos, magic is in the intent of the person. Just because it happens to be a bodily fluid doesn't necessarily mean anything good, bad, negative, in between. It's all about how you want to use it. Those are just some of the ways that I've used urine in the most recent past. And I don't see urine as a negative, nor do I see it as a positive. I just see it as a fluid that has other properties commingled with it. Our urine contains used blood cells and just other toxins and pollutants and things that are removed from our bodies. So utilizing it that direction, you're going to find that it works really well for banishing, binding, for keeping things away. As a self-sacrificial vessel, you could say that this is all the stuff that you are wanting to remove from your body, representative of a liquid. And so, like, say you wanted to do weight loss magic, or you wanted to build up your self-esteem, or whatever else, you would focus your intent on that. And as you're urinating, you'd have to be mindful while you're urinating that urine is what you're collecting for that specific purpose. If it's just that you have to go to the restroom and you're collecting some of it, there's no real intent behind it. And I feel that while it is still within your vessel, that your intent will translate into it. Now, again, if you just pee into a jar or a bottle or whatever you happen to have and don't have any intent behind it, then, you know, it's still going to work. It's just my own personal workings. That's what I do. If I'm going to collect my urine for a specific purpose, then I make sure that as I'm urinating, I'm thinking about that purpose. Like, okay, if I'm doing a banishing, I'm thinking about quite literally peeing on everything that this person is trying to do, and just basically raining on their parade and making everything sour and unfavorable, and there you have it. And then I would continue to do this for 3 to 4 days, and then on the 5th day I would hopefully have timed it right around the new moon or the full moon, depending on what I'm doing, and then I would go ahead and cast the spell and use it and call it good. So there you guys go. I hope that this has helped you some. If you want me to do another video where I'm actually creating a spell and not just showing you a prop, I can try to do that. I normally don't do spell work on camera, just because it's kind of personal, and I do offer recordings of the spells that I cast, usually on a one-on-one basis. Though, if like a client came to me and said, I want you to cast a spell for XYZ, but I want you to film it, then I would film it for that particular purpose, but not just in general. So if you want me to actually film a spell like that, like urine, then I'll need a few days to actually get some collected and go from there. But yeah, I can do that. Or if you have another suggestion or idea for another video, by all means, put it in the comment section down below. Shoot me an email, hello, and tell me hello,